Hello, welcome to Heal Yourself Therapies. And I'm here really just to have another little chat about where we are, the situation that we're in, and what we can do about it, what we can do to put ourselves in a position of strength. Okay. Strength comes from being in love and not fear. At the end of the day, the great Sufis and the great minds of the spiritual world say that there are only two things, there are only two places that we can be. We can be in love or we can be in fear. Now, looking back over the last few months, you can imagine where mankind has been. In fear. We were talking to a friend yesterday who lives alone, and she was talking about the emotional roller coaster that she's been on. Up and down, she's been depressed, she's been fearful, she's been angry, she's been resigned, then she's been okay again, and then just the whole cycle goes, and it all depends on what you watch. It all depends on what you are being told. Okay, now one of the issues that we have in this world, and the issue is something that I see over and over again, and I hear over and over again when I talk to people. I believe that my job here has been given to me to help people just to wake up a little bit, to help people to wake up to what's the reality of the world. And that's not to wake up to bad stuff. It's kind of to wake up to understand what's happening and then to be able to change it. You see, we are creators. We create. And we can create our reality. Trust me, we can. I'm not the only person saying that. There is a wealth of information about how we are able to create our reality. But our reality can be created for the good or it can be created for the bad. When we are in deep fear, we are creating for the bad. We are either making things worse by our thoughts or at least trapping ourselves in the same paradigm, unable to escape. Knowledge is power. Okay? Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more powerful you become. Not over people, over yourself. Right? When you know, then you are in a position of power. The story, well, before that, I'll tell you a story about two rats, okay? But let me tell you the issue that we have. We, and I'm talking about mankind, we are good people. We are fine people. We are upstanding people. What I mean by, I'm not talking about, there are people who do bad stuff, but I'm talking about the fundamental essence of humankind. We are beautiful people, and all we want to do, all we want is to be able to spend time with people that we love, live our life, and learn our lessons from life. That's what we want. Uninterrupted. We don't want people messing about with us. We want to just get on and do our stuff and enjoy our life. That's really the essence of it. It doesn't have to be a super duper fantastic, all singing, all dancing, buzzers and whistles life. We just want to have quality. We want a quality life of enjoying one another and living in a community of family. That's what we want. However, the issue we have is that we project that goodness onto others. We project that goodness onto our political world. We project that goodness onto the companies that provide us food. We project the goodness from ourselves onto the companies that provide us medication. We project our goodness onto religions. And what do we say when we do that? We say, that cannot be true. If I'm saying to somebody, by the way, look here, there's a lot of bad stuff happening. We say, that cannot be the case because of two reasons. They couldn't be capable of doing it. And if it was being done, we would find out about it. All right? If that was true, we would find out about it. And these are the two fundamental flaws in the way that we think. It's what catches us out, and it's what they know that catches us out. You see, we project our goodness onto people that are evil, that are not people. Let's just leave it like that. I don't believe that they are actually people, or if there are actually people in a real sense, they are so evil that they are capable of anything. They are capable of doing things that we would never, ever, ever do. And so we give them the benefit of the doubt. And this is where we fail. This is where we make our mistake. We say, I would never do that, so therefore they would never do that. And that's an error. That is a big, big error. So that's the first mistake. The second mistake is that we say, and if they were doing it, we would know. And that's another big mistake, because what we are doing is we are projecting goodness onto the media. And let me tell you that in this world, the media is black as black can be. The media is corrupted, manipulated. It is owned by the same bad people that want to harm us. It's owned by the same group. It's owned by 6 companies. The media in the world is owned by 6 companies. Trace back who owns the companies and you'll find the same people. All right? The people who own everything in the world. They are extremely evil beings who want the very worst for us. But of course we're good. And so we find that very difficult to come to terms with. We find it very difficult that there might be people on this earth, or beings on this earth, who want to kill us, who want us dead, who want us subjugated, who want us roboticized, who want us nullified. And we think, that's terrible. That would never happen. Could never happen. And the media would tell us. But if the media is owned by them, the media is never going to tell you. In fact, the media is never going to tell you the truth. And that's a hard thing to swallow. It was so hard for me to swallow that. The media is not there to tell you the truth. The media is there and has been created over the years to manipulate you into thinking in the way that they want you to think. That's all that's involved. There's nothing more. Do not think that the media is there to tell you the truth, because that's a lie. Okay? How do I know this? Because I've done my due diligence. I have studied this for a long time. And so for me to talk about it, it's very easy. To me, I don't need to be convinced about it. I've seen multiple examples, and right now we are being manipulated again. We're being manipulated. Why? And I'll tell you why. At the moment, there is a mass awakening, never before seen. Billions of people are waking up. And when I say billions, I mean billions of people are waking up. All right? They're waking up to everything. And they're waking up in their way. It might be through the situation with the virus. It might be the way that it's been dealt with. And all of these big yawning gaps in logic that we see as we're told story after story about what's gone on. It might be through other ways. It might be looking at the political world and saying, what in God's name is going on? It might be looking at the way that we are given medicine that seems to make us more ill. Yeah? It might be the way that education seems to be messed up in the way that it's designed for children. Lots of people, it might be religion. You might be looking at religion and saying, what the hell is going on? Yeah. You wake up in the way that you wake up. But you see what happens is this. When you wake up in one area, and let me give you an example. Maybe 15 years ago now, I received through my door a DVD just randomly put through the door. It was about a 7-hour DVD, and it was about the fall of the Twin Towers. And a group of extremely learned people, including architects and structural engineers and pilots, and just never ending, put together this massive video on something is wrong with this picture. Yeah? And so I watched it. And I watched it, and I consider myself to be a thinking person, but before that I'd never really ever considered that maybe the people who take care of us have got another agenda. Yeah. Once I realized that, once I started to question, well, if they are capable of doing that, ... the next question comes along. What else are they capable of doing? If they are lying to us about that, what else are they lying to us about? And that was my start of waking up. Now, in this world, and what you're going to hear through the media, because the media has a very, very important strategy of suppressing anything that falls outside of the agenda, the narrative, let's say that, the social narrative that we are given. And they will suppress it. Well, how they suppress it is by calling these ideas conspiracy theories. But what happens is if you do your due diligence and you look back to the conspiracy theories of the past, you find out that actually conspiracy facts, and that the information now with the Freedom of Information Act, the information comes out that yes, what we thought was a theory is now a fact. Okay? And when you start to look into what we call conspiracy theories, and you must understand that they also have infiltrated that world to make it look messy, to make it look ridiculous. What you're starting to see is that these conspiracies are not theories. These conspiracies are being played out over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. They keep playing the same story. They keep running the same script over and over again. And everybody buys into it. But not anymore. Not anymore. Billions of people are waking up. There's an event that's happening in America at the moment that has been staged. And it's been staged. Now, before that, people wouldn't have known that, and they would have just thrown themselves into it, and it would have been terrible, and it's a full distraction. This is a distraction event that's happening in the US. However, now, because people are waking up to this, people are not stupid anymore. Their eyes are open. And what they're seeing is that the whole thing is being manipulated. So much so that when they are going to protest, for example, they are finding that on corners, street corners, there are pallets with bricks piled up, specially placed there, that there are people infiltrating into these protests, paying people to be violent, giving them $15 a pop for them to be violent. There are people going into these places and smashing windows and causing problems, and they are paid for people. And everyone now is starting to take videos of them. Wait a minute, this guy here who's got an earpiece in, and he's got a big mask on, who's going around smashing windows with a hammer. But when people go and say, stop doing that, we want a peaceful protest, these people run off. Okay? Who are these people? These people are the ones who are paid to go in and make something into something that it isn't. People are upset about this, and then suddenly it becomes a race war. Suddenly it becomes a violent outburst. And this has been happening for years and years and years and years. But not anymore. It's still happening, but people are seeing it. There is a great awakening happening. People will no longer accept this sorry narrative, this poorly put together narrative that worked over and over and over again in the past, but it's not working. Why? Because people have got their eyes open. People are awake. People are waking up and saying, if they're doing this to us here, what else are they capable of doing? And of course, they're capable of doing the most horrific things over and over again. Okay? So what's our job? How do we protect ourselves? I promise you that the protection is not going out and fighting and going out and shooting and that's not how we're going to protect ourselves. We don't need to. We protect ourselves through information. That's how we protect ourselves. And you might say, well, how does knowing it help? Well, all you have to do is to go on to YouTube now, and you will see, if you look into any video that has Bill Gates, or George Soros, if you want, or I'm not going to mention it because this will be taken down. So, or the health that group, the health group, that's very important in the entire world. For example, if you look at the comments now, you will see that everybody is absolutely aware of what these people are doing. The comments show you everything about how people are waking up. But we have on this side, we have the media. Now, we have the sleeping people. What I mean by that, that's not a criticism. I was a sleeping person. I was a sleeping person for 40 years. I just assumed that everybody wanted the best for us. That's what I assumed. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. But on this side, we have the people who haven't seen it yet. Okay? Then we have this, what's a curtain, a smoke screen. Okay? We have a smoke screen. And then on the other side, we have all of the awakened people. The people who have seen something that has made them think twice. And then they've started to investigate and, oh man, the rock has been lifted. And they go, what is that? Okay. The people on this side have been taught to behave with the people on this side in a very specific way. In fact, they only have, the more that I look at this, the more I realize that these people, this 1% that is trying to do all of these terrible things, they have become too cocky. They've become too cocky. What do I mean by that? They think that they can just use the same paradigm over and over and over again because it's worked, and so they don't try and change it. They just do the same thing. Let's create a crisis. Let's create another crisis. And let's, as it's described, let's create a problem, and then we'll get a nice reaction from the people, and then we'll come in with a solution. The solution that we've always wanted to offer. But we must give them the problem first. And so they've become complacent. They've become too cocky. Right? And so what's happening is they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And one of the same things is that they get these people here to make fun of these people here. There are only two strategies that they have. That's the best they can do. The first strategy is to mock. They have to mock. Put your tinfoil hat on. Oh my God, conspiracy theorists. And they'll invent like little buzzwords, like horrible words to describe these people. Okay. Now remember, these people are now billions, and they have all woken up in different ways. So they all don't share the same ideas, but they do know that there's something seriously wrong. So the first one they do is to mock. And if the mocking doesn't work, then it's hating. Then they get really angry. And what they start saying is that these people are dangerous, that these people need to be stopped because they are dangerous to society. Yeah? And so they start to censor them, they start to arrest them, they start to do all kinds of things. Okay? So, these people here have chosen to be here. And for the moment, they want to be here. And we have to respect that. But these people who are here also deserve respect, because they have done a lot of work to get here. They've done a lot of research. They've done a lot of looking, and that is not nice. Trust me, the looking and finding is not nice. I have been through it, and I'm going through it, and I have seen a lot of people going through it, and they go through this horrible journey of mass disappointment, devastating disappointment, anger, frustration, depression, all of this. I can't believe that there is a group of people that are willing to do this to us. Yeah. But then you get to a point where it's just like, God bless you. It's like, yeah, this is the way it is. Once we are there, then we as a group of people, we are the majority. Right? And I know that there'll come a point where the awakened people will be so great that we will get to the 100th monkey, right? The 100th monkey. And the 100th monkey event will be when enough people know about it, it will infiltrate across the smoke screen. They won't be able to stop it. In fact, that's what's happening now. It's impossible to stop because we have the power of 3, the magic 3 number. What is the power of 3? The power of 3 is this: when you have heard the same thing coming from 3 different sources, the reticular activating system in your mind opens up. Your mind opens doors and says, wait a minute, there must be something to this because I have just heard it 3 times from 3 different people. Right? The power of 3. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And that's what's happening. People are looking through internet and just noticing all of these comments about Bill Gates, eugenicist. Bill Gates wants to force vaccines. Bill Gates is giving money to all of these places around the world, investing billions upon billions, all the vaccine companies and the vaccine people and the vaccine boards, and he's giving bribes, and Bill Gates has just offered 10 million to the Nigerian politicians to force the vaccine, mandate the vaccine, a bribe. Bill Gates is bribing. And people go, why? Bill Gates is a wonderful person. He's a philanthropist. He's a great person. Why? Because that's what they've been told on this side. Okay? But the mind's saying, so why are so many people saying he's bad? The door's opened. The door gets opened, and suddenly people are open to more information. When they're here and they haven't seen anything, they're not open to any information. They're very happy. Thank you very much. I get everything I need. Thank you very much. You shut up. Don't be stupid. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're an idiot. Right? That's exactly how they feel. And I don't blame them, because that's what they've been told to think. And they're told over and over and over again. Right? In fact, this side invented the debunked. And that's all that you have to say now. On the television they go, yeah, because now that's what they say about Bill Gates. Obviously it's all been debunked. And everyone goes, oh, thank goodness for that, it's been debunked. So I don't have to think about that. Yeah? This is a very comfortable place to be. Sometimes I ask myself, would I have been happier just to stay here in the sleep department? You know, being awake is very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. And waking up is extremely uncomfortable. You know, who wants to wake up from a beautiful dream, even though now it's converting into a beautiful nightmare? Anyway, I'm going to finish by telling you the story of the rats. Why is it that knowledge, which is power, you agree with me there, knowledge is power, that's what we've been told, and it's very true. Why does knowledge help us? How is it going to save us? There was a story about a test that they did with rats. They had 2 rats in a cage. Right, there's a bit more to the story, but I'll give you the idea. 2 rats in a cage, identical cages, identical rats. The only difference was in one cage there was a red button, and in the other cage there wasn't. When the red button was pressed, food would enter into both cages. So every time the rat on the right hand side pressed the button, food will be given to both rats. After a few weeks of this, the rat with the button was as fat as butter. He was over the moon. He was very happy and loved his life. The rat that didn't have the button died. Okay, it had all the food it needed, but it died. And why? It died because it didn't have the power. It didn't have control over its own self. Okay? Supremacy. It wasn't the king of its own kingdom. The other rat was. The other rat wasn't interested in what it was doing to that rat. It was just interested that when it pressed the button, it got food, and that was very satisfying. But the other rat, no. And so that's why we need to get our red button. You see, when you don't have to think in the way that they want you to think, that makes you very powerful. Very powerful. Remember that we are nearly 8 billion people on this planet. And they, the ones who want to control everything, are only 1% of that. Very small amount of people. Okay? They have the power because they have the power because we have given them the power. We've allowed them that power. But we can easily take that away. We can easily take that away. And remember that all of the police forces and all of the soldiers and everything, they are also us. All right? They are also us. And they are going through a process of awakening. Just look in Brazil at the police force saluting all of the people who are out in the streets. The police and the army are on our side and will be on our side ultimately. Okay? So that's where we need to get to. What's our job? Our job is to start spreading the breadcrumbs, is starting to ask these people, ask them interesting questions. Right? These people are asleep, remember. They will fight tooth and nail not to wake up. They do not want to wake up. They're comfortable. They're comfortable. Remember, the journey to waking up is horrific. It's a horrible journey. It's horrible. You wake up and then you start seeing the reality. It's horrible. All right? So they don't want to. There's too much investment. You know, when you say to somebody, they're chemtrails. All right? I mean, you know, chemtrails is like old hat now. Everybody knows about the chemtrails. But these people will still deny it. And they say, no, it's ridiculous. They're not chemtrails. They're just it's the vapor. And that's why they stay the whole day in the sky. That's right, it's vapor, isn't it? Vapor lasts for an entire day. Not. But they don't want to see that. They don't want to see that. But why? Why must they deny it when it's like in your face? Because when you believe that some people, a certain group, don't want the best for us, then you have to start questioning in what other areas of life don't they want the best for us. And that is a big commitment. That's a big job. It's a lifelong job. Right? It's been a lifelong job for so many millions of people now to wake up, to find out the truth. And so, our job is to help them by giving them little breadcrumbs. You see, and this is the absolute point, the most important point. You can only stay asleep whilst you're asleep. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but you see, what happens is once you wake up, you cannot go back to sleep. The waking up is a one-way process. Once you know that they don't have our best interests at heart, you cannot then trust them after that. And you can't trust anything anymore. And you start believing when some of the wisest minds say everything that you know is a lie. And that's really hard to swallow. But after a while, you start actually seeing. You see it and you think, goodness gracious, it really is. And so that's why they don't want to wake up. But how do we wake them up? It's easy. We just do these little things and we say things like, I don't know, isn't it strange that Isn't it strange that all the virus seemed to come from China? Isn't it strange that Fauci was investing in the Wuhan lab that was creating these viruses? Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange that Bill Gates, right, has given millions upon millions of dollars to every single person in the UK who is on the vaccine board, the ones who make decisions about the vaccines in the UK? Isn't it strange that Bill Gates has gifted to every single person on that board millions upon millions? Isn't it strange that Bill Gates was trying to bribe the Nigerian country to mandate vaccines? Yeah? Isn't it strange that people in India are really upset with Bill Gates because his vaccine program killed thousands of people? And isn't it strange that Africa is not happy with Bill Gates because his vaccine program made sterile lots and lots and lots of women? The tests that he did. And these are things, you just leave it. You just say something like that and then leave it. Don't go on. Don't go on. And what happens is if they see three little bits of information that kind of indicate the same thing, something wrong with Bill Gates, then they will start to wake up. All right? And it could be about anything. So that's basically what we need to do. If you're awake, then your job is to help other people too. Educate yourself. Be absolutely clear about what is true and what isn't true. Do not believe anything. This is fundamental. Anything that is being promoted through social media, anything where there is a big, oh, I can't believe that is terrible, we must do something about it, where it comes from everybody. Do your due diligence. Do not believe it. Check it out first. Because if you just wait, something happens. If you just wait, you will see that there is a lot of evidence to show that this is manipulated. All right? So please do not take anything at face value. Not even from me, not from anybody. Don't take it at face value. Do your investigation. Follow your gut. Follow your gut feel. All right? And we'll get there. We will get there. Once this great awakening is finished, and it's happening at a speed that's never ever been seen before, then new things will happen. Changes will happen. Okay, all we've got to do is want it. We've got to see it first, then we've got to want change, and change will happen. Because we are legion, we are many. Okay? I'll leave that with you. See you later. See you in the next one.